Hello, Sam. You caught me in between my break. Well, you're welcome to have one. I've got more of these. These are actually pretty good products. They are chocolate brownies, but they're actually only 4 gram sugar and 22 grams of protein. Let me double check that. 4 grams of sugar and 180 calories. 22 grams of protein. So it's a pretty good thing for after workout. The problem is when you just pour your tea when you want to start having something, you can't enjoy it because it's very hot. And the best time to have the teas when your cake is still there. Sam says they look good. What's the brand? The I buy this from um, athletic store, like when they have the proteins and vitamins and weightlifting gears and things like that. And this is called Eat Me Guilt Free. Brownie says, bite me once, eat me forever. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. It says protein on it. And yeah, there's something on it which I don't think it's necessary to be put on. It's kind of silly, but I guess it's important to them. It says woman owned. What's that declaration for? What is that supposed to mean? So everything that is owned by men, they should write men owned. I think that part is stupid. But the product is good. I mean, you may not think it's stupid, but I do. Personally, that's my opinion. But the product is very delicious. Limited sugar and protein is good. I mean, and delicious. It is made in USA. Sam says it's probably just the marketing. Yeah, but I don't see the marketing end of it. I mean, it just creates some unnecessary, I don't know, announcement. Who cares what your gender is when you have a product you're trying to sell and it's a good product, delicious. So what do I care if it's made? It's women owned, men owned. What do I care? But I eat a lot of them because they're very convenient, easy to put it in your gym bag, and it's great. Mind you, it does have a little bit of a positive connotation to it when they say women owned. When I look at it from a different angle, from one angle, I think it's unnecessary. From another angle, it kind of makes you feel homey, like this is got women's touch to it. They care because women are famous to be quality, meticulous, clean, caring, um, or the old traditional connotation of being homemaker, making something pleasant. So it does have a, I guess, yeah, it's possible that if I see two cakes there, one it says chef is a woman, or the other one says chef is a man, I may go for the woman because I kind of feel like she's put more, I don't know, attention to it, or so. Yeah, it's there, but I think it's yeah, it's a marketing thing. I guess we can settle for that. So we have Halil. That's a Turkish name, is it? Says I've been watching you every day since the last week. It has been a pleasure for me. Delighted to hear that. Says you're giving me strength during these hard times. Thank you so much. You're quite welcome. My pleasure. I'm delighted that you're here and sharing some of your time with us. I wish I could share this delicious brownie with you guys. Actually, I would, if I would have a possibility to travel and put workshops, I'd probably put lots of goodies, and this probably would be one of them. See if you can find it in your area. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. Just I like them. That's all. um, use yeah, and it's such an easy thing. Like for example, if you're lazy to, like you had your dinner but you're still hungry, especially if you work out, and you don't want to take away from whatever you're doing. You're doing some work or watching a movie or whatever it is you're doing. Just pick one up with tea. Still perfect. Are you going out for a walk? I go for a walk every night. Every night I have one of those in my pocket. Because when you finish the walk, you just sit in front of the ocean, open one, enjoy. I take other things too, like fruits. My pocket, I've got everything. Chocolates. Mm. Yusuf says salam cheturi. Yusuf 29 UK. Thank you. Good. Good of you to be here. It's 7:40 a.m. here. Ah, so I woke you guys up. Sam says, I get that. It's something similar to, let's say, made in the USA. Or, yeah, yeah, true. Sam says, Sam says, oh, yeah, I see your point. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's kind of, you know, who wouldn't mind if the meal is prepared by a woman? You feel it's cleaner, nicer, tastier, delicious, lots of love gone in. Just the whole word woman gives it certain kind of a class to it. But I wouldn't write it. But if I don't write it, they wouldn't know. So I guess you gotta say, oh, it's okay. And this Yeti cup, it's one of the best cups I've ever had, I ever used. But the problem with it is that it keeps the stuff so hot in it for so long, which is not a problem when you want to have a nice warm tea, but it's a problem if you want to have it right away. Especially if I put the lid on. Forget it. It's going to be 2 hours before it's actually, you know, pleasant to drink out of. But anyhow, it keeps the tea warm for long hours. I really like it. Or just imagine if these two products had sponsored this show. I mean, we would have had enough money to travel around the world. Yusuf says, what do you think of the book, The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman? I don't know that book. Is that the guy who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus? Kind of reminds me because his name, that author was also Gary something. But this particular one you're saying, I have no idea. Oh, I was almost, I almost was fooled because it wasn't hot, but because I put the lid on it. And if I would drink it, it would have probably burned the heck out of me. Oh, check it out. On my watch, I can actually see part of Maui. That's cool. Let's see if I can increase it a little bit. That's too much. If I reduce it, then it will only function on green. This function on yellow too. That's funny. Well, I did take a short walk tonight. That's why I'm here. I didn't go the whole distance. It was raining very hard this afternoon, and I guess I was doing stuff, and I thought maybe just a little bit walk by the beach is good enough. So I did that. That's why I thought maybe I'll go do a little short live for you guys, maybe half an hour. Maybe if there are some people out there that they couldn't make our earlier program, we can answer a couple of questions. If we can alleviate a little bit of the pressure problem that some might be feeling, that would be okay. Yusuf says, which books would you recommend on relationships? I have no knowledge of any of these books on relationship. But instead of relationship, I think it would be a good idea to read the book that I have written naturally, because it's not on relationship, but it's on your psyche. It's about things that makes you function the way you do. It covers anything from fear, desire, ego, order, how desire is born, to meditation, to mind needs a home, to mind and body coordination. It helps you to understand what's happening here. So other books on relationships. I mean, if you look, what does it? How does it help if a book is written on relationship? Because if a person has a different personality, okay, so you would know certain kind of a communication techniques or certain kind of a mentality about it, about the topic. But my focus, my recommendation is to learn about what makes you tick the way you do. What makes you act, react the way you do to people, to events, to things. To if you know yourself better and you know what affects it, influences it, why you're behaving this way, what are your fears, what are your desires, how do they work together, what is thought, the source of our problems, thoughts, how is it put together, how is it born, what is the relationship between thoughts and consciousness, why is it that you act the way you do, why are you affected, what are these signals that come in mean, if anything, and if not, why not, who are you the thoughts, are you the brain, or you're beyond it. So understanding that to me has always been more important than understanding one particular topic, relationship, or whatever. But the other book that I've is on breakups, not relationship, but breakups. And that book is it's available on my site mindthatseekstruth.com. It says Breakup Pain Handbook. So it helps you to understand some of the stuff that I talked about. But that was written in 2015, started market in 2016, I guess. So there are a lot more after that, but that's already 600 pages. But the Me, My Psyche, and I is highly recommended as well. That's like 360 pages. It's good stuff in there. Your Yusuf says your book seems interesting. It is actually. It took a while to write it, and I enjoyed incorporating mind and body coordination, incorporating my experiences, what I learned, and things about meditation, and of course, heavily influenced by teachings of Mr. Jiddu Krishnamurti. I studied his work for years. I never read his books at all, but I listened to his interviews, lectures, discussions, talks for thousands of hours for years. So I would walk and analyze and understand and try to see how I can deliver it maybe differently in combination with my experience and so on. So um, it's quite work went into it, and I'm very delighted to have stumbled on Mr. Jiddu Krishnamurti's work. It's a blessing, eye opener. So I've interpreted it like described it easier because it's rather heavy material to understand when he lectures. Is although he's a great lecturer, but it's not that easy. So I've kind of opened them all up so people can just read it and see it based on my understanding. But I know he's written many books, but I've never read any of them. I spend lots of time listening his lectures and watching his discussions with psychologists and quantum physics professors would gather around him and discuss with him and ask their questions and topics, and those discussions are very interesting. That's how I would analyze it and then try to see if there is a way to deliver it differently. And Yusuf said, do you think the no contact method works? What do you mean works? Look, you've spent time with your girlfriend, or your relationship, and I bet you both tried your best to make it work. It didn't. It broke up. I bet you before it broke up, you guys tried, discussed, talked. It didn't. So it broke up. Now, what is this no contact about? So you forget that you had a problem? So what? You forget, but the problem is there. You go back, you interact with each other the same way, and you get pissed off again, you break up again. So the key is not about the yeah, the no contact is good. Yeah, sure. Maybe you forget and you'll be start talking again. But if you get back to each other, you gotta explore and discuss the problems in the consciousness, how you behave, how you act and interact with each other towards matters of word that mean something to you guys, how you're affected when the other one behaves in a certain way or interacts with the world in a certain way that you're not, let's say, finding it palatable for you. Or perhaps you guys can figure out how you can look at things and analyze yourselves inwardly to come to a certain conclusion of behavior in society or in connection to each other. But that always starts by understanding your own psyche first. If you don't understand your own psyche, why you act, behave, and react the way you do, you always think, oh, that person did this, so I'm upset. Well, if you understand, maybe you will not be upset if that person, because it's on that person, it's not on you. It's a reflection of on her, whatever she does, not on you. But to begin with, you got to understand yourselves first, and then by that understanding, you can come up to a mutual understanding, because you can see how your individual psyches work and it's put together. So you respect the understanding of how it could affect you in your behavior, which could may or may not be in line with the other person's idea of being a couple or represent yourselves the way you do. Okay. Manav says, can I overcome HOCD without using a therapist? It's very possible. Many do and many don't. Depends on how knowledgeable you are about this disorder, and how you can analyze what's happening in the brain, and how to separate the brain from you, and how well you understand you're not the brain and brain is not you. Therefore, what's conjured up here has got nothing to do with you, but it's part of the function of the brain, which you are supposed to understand. You are beyond the brain and you're the ultimate power, because you have the power of veto and choices. It's not like whatever the brain says you should do it, because the brain is above you. In fact, brain is beneath you, is a subordinate of you. You're above the brain. Brain, there are aspects of you and the mind that the brain can never reach. And if you don't understand that, you will think whatever brain puts into your head, that must be done. That must be me. No, you're not. You're not the brain. Brain is an apparatus, is a machine, is an organ. It does what it does, and it's got no intellect. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not your intellect. So you are the intellect. The awareness is the intellect, not the brain. So you have to understand, you survived for millions of years before you ended up with this brain that you have today. So what happened then? There was no brain as such as it is today. You had reptilian brain, you had stem brain. Everything was instinctive. You would sleep, you would run, you would hunt, you would have sex. Your gender was all clear. There was no questions. Why is there a question today? Not because you're changing in gender, it's because because you have the power of thinking, and thought is the roots of all problems. When you didn't have the ability to think or speak 40,000 years ago, you had no HOCD or OCD or things like that. There was no such thing. All these mental issues started since we started having actual complex brain. It developed over millions of years until 40,000 years ago. We began to have this advanced brain that could do calculations, good things, do things, still not an intellect, but could do things. And that do things over the years fooled you to make you think that it's a smart, it's intellect, and it's better than you, and it's you. So what comes up into it shows up in its screen. You think, oh, it's gospel, it's word of Almighty, it's the way things are. No, it's just a stupid machine, like your intestine sometimes gets diarrhea, but you have no problem understanding that. You do something to fix it. You say, oh, there's a malfunction here, because you're not accustomed to it functioning that way. You can see it's not what you've always been, and it's not interesting to you. It's not your preference. So you figure out how you can heal it, fix it. Brain too, it gets diarrhea. It goes off the handle, and then you're supposed to be the boss to understand. Oh, I gotta help it to bring it back to how it should function for me. It functions differently for different people. But when you know what your interests and preparation and preferences uh, and inclination is, then you protect it instead of being bamboozled by the brain's, you know, uh, makeup of things or whatever appears in the brain's screen. But anyhow, going to a therapist is very good and important, especially if the therapist is a specialist in OCD and subsets of OCD. Not any psychologist can understand OCD or subsets of OCD like such as HOCD. It has to be a specialist in that field. So make sure you choose the right one. Okay, Yusuf. Good. Yeah, Alan Watts and Jiddu Krishnamurti though are very different in hmm. Jiddu Krishnamurti was an exceptional man. His knowledge inwardly is tremendously amazing, to the point that many capable psychologists and quantum physics professors would sit down and try to share topics with him and learn and discuss deeply. Yeah, I stumbled on that this brilliant man's work. I just stumbled by someone introduced it to me years ago, and to me it was like fish to water. So many answers and so many questions he would open up, and the way he would teach would make you think, not just tell you stuff. Carl Jung, yeah, yeah, sure. Brandy Marbles Powell says, "How guys? What happened to the protocol? Age, gender, where you tuning in from? I gotta know that. Brandy, come on, spill it out. Gender, age, where you tuning in from. So I'll have some kind of a background from you guys. So I'll come back to you as soon as I have that. Yusuf, you too. Let's see, maybe Yusuf did it. No, Yusuf, you haven't either. Go to it. Only Halil, you didn't do it either. Sam, you didn't do it either. Holy macaroni, you how did you guys get away with it? I didn't even see it. Oh, there it is. Well, Yusuf has. Yusuf is the only one. So 29 UK. Thank you for that. Sam, spill it out. And Manav, please put in your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. Aman, 20 male, India. Thank you for that. Aman says, I left the HOCD girl because she started to little by little disrespect me and not talking me much seriously. But I'm feeling guilty as I spend a long time talking to her. Why do you feel guilty? You spend lots of time talking to her. That's all right. It's done. It's done. It's a reflection on her. You trusted her. Now you know you shouldn't have. Live and learn. No big deal. Move on. These experiences, who you meet, who you talk to, it works out, doesn't work out, whatever it is, it's not the entirety of the experience of life. It's just what it is for that particular increment of time. And that's it. Tolerable. Not hot enough, but still at least careful. Inglidani says Mehran, Muallim, teacher. Thank you. I'm honored to be called that way. I appreciate that. Says, thank you so much. Male 24, London. I have too much self respect to care about the ex that blocked me or her friends. I deserve and can do better. Mutshakkiram. Of course you can. Of course you can. The number one thing that stops you from actually getting what you want and advancing in life, going for better thing, is your own mind, is your own brain, the way you think about yourself. Again, don't be bamboozled. Bruce Lee said the biggest obstacle in life is here. It's true. It's true. It is this that we believe it knows everything. So when it says something, well, you can't do it. So, no, this is an apparatus, it's a machine. Don't listen to it. Listen to your knowledge and your expertise and your determination, what you want to accomplish in this life, what you're here in this life for. Don't be bogged down and bamboozled by the pleasures that if you do get it, you feel good about your life. I'm successful. If you don't get the certain pleasure that you're looking for, oh, I'm failure. Oh, nobody likes me. I'm not good enough. No, bullshit. These are pleasures. They're not real life. It's part of life. So don't give it such a big number. Um, Sam says, Maron, quick question. Sam, where the heck is your? Oh, there it is. Haha. Okay. 25 years. And Brandy, thank you very much. Texas, female, 44. I got to go to Brandy because she put the question first, Sam. So I'll be right back with you. Let's go to Brandy. Uh, Brandy, Texas, female, 44. The free country is probably one of the only, Texas and Florida. It's one of the two places that this nonsense that's going on is not being shoved down people's throat, and they have a choice to do what they want to do. So, um, Yusuf said, "Are your books available on Amazon in paperback?" Yes, they are, but uh, they're not. They're only on. They're available in ebook version on Amazon. Only through my own site, the paperback is available. But of course, it's expensive because it's heavy, lots of pages, and then the shipping is not cheap. Um, Sometimes shipping is like 50, $60 shipping. Depends on where it's going. Sometimes $40, and so the shipping. So it's not cheap. But there's also a ebook version of it on my own site, which is cheaper than Amazon. On Amazon is like the ebook version of one of the books is like I don't know $23. The same book on my site is like $8.99 or something like that. So mind at sixtruth.com. I suggest you get all your ebooks and books there. And so I guess I was on my way to get to Brandy because your comment was right underneath of Brandy's thumbnail. Okay, Brandy says, how do I move on after a long courtship and marriage has ended? I'm sorry? Is it courtship or marriage? Oh, courtship and long courtship and marriage has ended. Okay, so it was lots of, courtship beginning and then ended up you guys got married and now it's ended, like divorced, yeah? And she says, we have young children. I know our marriage cannot be reconciled. I have lost so much because of the choices my husband made. Hmm. Okay. All right. I guess that's the extent of information I have of your relationship. Um, it's rather challenging to be able to say how when I don't know the nitty gritties to link up to the topic and bring that as the um, bouncing board for you to move on. Because by recognition of the problems and the roots of problems, then you will inwardly convince yourself based on facts and discussions and analyzing the situation. Once you inwardly are convinced, then you won't even say, I want it, because you can see that would be contrary to your values. And when you're convinced that it is contrary to your values, you never want it, even though it could be palatable or convenient, but you will actually see that there's no future to something that is not in line with your values. You may tolerate it, but it'll never give you that elusive psychological security that you're seeking, which we're all seeking, but of course we'll never attain it, let alone if it is based on some kind of a desire for something that is actually not in line with your values. It's a waste of time. One of the biggest problems that most people have in their relationships is not when they're in the midst of relationship or at the end when they see it's breaking up. It's at the selection stage. They don't select right. Why? Because they don't have the same motivations to get into that relationship. One has a motivation of being alone. The other one has a motivation maybe to want to have more provisions or economically better his or her life. Sometimes they simply want to escape from something and they select something. Sometimes they want to be affirmed and that person is affirming them, whether because of their interest in the intimacy or their own shortcomings, because they haven't made themselves happy in their own life. So they give affirmation to somebody else, and somebody else's attention, because of that affirmation, makes them feel happy in their life. And eventually they feel like, okay, they're a match because they both feel happy when they're together because they're not picking on each other, they're complimenting and they're filling up their own shortcomings by complimenting the other, and the other being happy to receive all that, feeling good, will reciprocate and give all the good stuff, communication and feelings back to the other. And they think, oh, we're so compatible, or we're so aware of each other's needs and sensitive to that. So I feel safe in her hand, and she would feel safe in his hand. And they will continue this to the point that they say they're convinced that they should get married. And sometimes it's okay at the beginning, but the consciousnesses are changing all the time. And the same events that are happening to their lives affects their consciousness differently. Like if two people throw a ball from the same point to a surface, a weave of some kind of a material, but that same ball from the same point thrown, it bounces back different direction, different velocities, different reaction once it hits the surface. So in other words, that surface being your consciousness, the events of life may react, have a respond to it from your consciousness differently than the other person's consciousness, even though they're the same events in life, because the consciousnesses are constantly changing according to the conditioning you receive in your consciousness, and therefore your reaction to a certain event in life is different, and the other person's reaction is different, and you will start seeing that you're no longer as compatible as you were at the beginning. So if you make the wrong selection, that's one thing. You think you made the right selection, but as you go along, your consciousness is changing. And if you're not growing together and not aware of these changes to change together, at least as close as possible, there'll be divisions and conflicts created. So the selection process and the stage is where most of the problems take place, but it's not visible because everybody is so focus on the icing on the cake, that they don't even focus on what the material the ingredients in the cake is. They're too busy with tasting. Oh, wonderful! It looks so beautiful. It's so good, and they haven't gone deep enough to say, "Oh, there's some shit in there that I didn't know. It didn't show." So, so I don't know really enough to be able to tell you how to move on, because the ingredients that has been used is important to see how to counter it individually. So I suggest to you, if you like, you go on my site, mind@seekstruth.com, make an appointment for a Skype consultation. And usually newcomers and new clients, when they make a 1 hour registration for consultation, I'll add another hour to it. So on that session, we'll have 2 hours. We can explore what's concerning you one on Skype. In a lot more and more time is available to do that. Anyhow, so Manav says India, male 15. Ah, Manav, do you have agreement or permission from your parents to be here? I want you to know that this channel is geared for 18 and up. So if you have such, uh, if your parents are informed that you're going to be on this site, then fine. Just want to let you know that that is my personal preference and regulation for participating here. Sam says, Marin, quick question. 9/29 was my birthday. 9/20. Oh, yesterday. Happy birthday. We are very close. You're also Libra. In about 2 days, it's mine. You probably celebrate. I probably mourn it. I'm getting too old. And I'm not used to it. I still think I'm that 25-year-old kid. That's the problem. So 9/29 was my birthday. My girlfriend, long distance. Long distance. I let me relax with this for a second. Long distance is no relationship, it's just problem. Okay. My girlfriend, long distance, forgot my birthday. Naturally, it's long distance. Nobody really cares. You should know that. And do you really think that long distance is a girlfriend? What's wrong with you? The girl cannot see you, you cannot see her. It's not a girlfriend boyfriend relationship. It's just something you made believe in your head to make yourself feel good and be lazy enough not to go and find some girl who lives in the same city or town or vicinity. It's a scapegoat. Oh, I've got a girlfriend. What girlfriend? You can't touch her, you can't talk to her, you can't go for tea or coffee, you can't do anything. So what girlfriend? Yeah, of course it's all gonna look nice because she's gonna spiff you up. You're gonna spiff you up and stand in front of the Skype and chat for an hour or two and talk about the things you did and be at your best behavior and have your, I don't know, goodies and share and laugh, because there's no reality of interacting with the events of life to see how she reacts, or she sees how you react when some challenge in actuality happens on that day or certain day or the life that you guys are sharing in the same city. So everything is so, oh, she's so wonderful. She's always looks nice, oh, for 1 hour. And she's always nice and hears me out because what else is there? You guys are talking. So all the judgment goes out the window. That's why I'm not really fond of a long distance relationship. It could be acquaintance, and that if you guys somehow, somewhere ended up seeing each other, then you can see if it's worthy of relationship or not. But considering it that it's a long distance, that you've never seen each other physically, am I going too fast? Maybe you have, and it's just then you separated for some reason. to go somewhere else. Let's see. Let me read the rest of it. And it says she had told me before that this was going to be a stressful week at work. She did call me today and apologize. So, what's the big deal? I mean, to begin with, Sam, this is not a girlfriend, and you're not her boyfriend. But you kind of, many things is mental virtually. We kind of convince ourselves, oh, I have a girlfriend. I see her on Skype. Really? What else? Nothing really. Is there hope to see her? Yeah, maybe someday. So how long are you going to wait? Until she actually finds a real physical boyfriend there, or until you actually find a real physical girlfriend there, you guys going to lead each other on and think it is. Nothing's going to stop you to fall in love with another girl or see another girl close by and she's nice and you really want to get to know her and she's in your city. What you going to do? You're going to break up with that one eventually. If maybe not right away, but eventually. And if she finds somebody, in her neck of the wood, she's going to break up. But you guys been, leading each other on for so long, you guys going to be really crushed. The one who hasn't found anyone. So don't call it a boyfriend girlfriend if it's long distance. Just call it very interested in each other, but don't make it go there. If you guys are not going to be able to see each other within the next short while, don't call it that. It just sets you up for disappointment. And so she apologized. So what's the big deal? Okay. I mean, for heaven's sake, everything else is like real actual, and this one, because it was a day or something late, then wow. What? Let's say she said it on the same day. You just feel affirmed. Oh, attention was given to me. Big fucking deal. Go find a real girl close to you and, let her go. And don't get so hung up, because we men, once we get even a whiff of promise of a female being in our life, we kind of consider, oh, my wife now, my girlfriend now. Now I got to take care of her. And then you expect so much from her that she's not thinking like you. Women are not so protective the way we are over them, even if we haven't really seen them close, but we have created a certain kind of a affinity towards them because they allowed us, or they made us feel that they're our girl, or at least that's the census is for that kind of a relationship or communication. So you're setting yourself up for things that is really not in her control either. She's a human being. She's looking for a real relationship to feel alive, and she may find somebody else. Oh, so why are you considering a long distance relationship something that could be paid so much attention to? No, it's nice. You have friends, okay, but don't label it. So if you find somebody else or she finds somebody else, neither one of you are going to be hurt, unless you come back to same city and then you gauge it and see maybe you guys can now make a better decision or consider it more seriously. Let's see. Maybe there's new information that I didn't pay attention to. Sam says, what do you think? This is particularly important for me as it made me feel that it's so difficult to count on anyone. What's counting? Somebody forgets about, I bet you this year everybody's going to forget about my birthday, but my ex-wife and my son. That's all that matters. Honestly, that's the family, right? So why should I be expecting, or maybe some people that I know maybe here and there, but I shouldn't expect anybody to remember it. It's a personal thing. Even I don't remember it. Maybe I don't want to remember it. The hell with it. It was yesterday I was 18 years old. And shit, 65, going on 66. God damn it. What is So, okay. Let me get this out of my pocket. Okay. Okay. Um, John, I'll come back to you. I'm still working on Sam. And John says, I'm broken. You're not broken. If you say that, I'm going to break you. With my ugly stick. Remember, this is a famous ugly stick. Everybody's scared of it. If you don't treat yourselves well, you're going to get a visit from this. But, get your motorcycle helmet on so you won't get hurt. All right. So, and Brandy says, thank you. I totally agree and understand what you said. Delighted to hear that. And Zedkill says, I'm second October. Oh, yeah, Zedkill, you and I have the same birthday, don't we? But I kind of calculated after 65 years that maybe I'm third, October 3rd. I'm tired of October 2nd. Just want to give it a little bit of a new and improved date on it. Um, let's finish with Sam here. Sam has made a comment. Says, we went to grade school together. She lives in North Carolina, and I live in Maryland. My job is in North Carolina, and I plan to move there later this year. You live in Maryland, but your job is in North Carolina. She lives in North Carolina, but you went to you went to school together. All right. Don't be so sensitive. If you be like that, she forgot my birthday. Uh, don't. Just don't be needy. When you're not needy, whatever your friends do for you, you'll appreciate it. When you expect it to be done and it's not done when you expected it to be done, you'll be pissed off and disappointed. So which one are you going to choose? You're going to go through life always hoping somebody affirms you, or somebody pays attention to you, or somebody. No, don't be like that. Then they become the boss of your life. If they don't give you what you psychologically need, then you can't get that psychological security or psychological benefits by yourself. Try to be independent. If they did, it's a gift. Thank you. If they didn't, all right, then you know how focused they are on you. And you just simply, if you really want to be balanced, you just do the same thing to them. When it's their birthday, let it pass. And don't say anything. And the next day, or whenever you remember, or whenever you want to make it look like that you just remembered, apologize. Say, oh, I'm really sorry, dear. I forgot about it. And don't say I forgot because you forgot. And if you get pissed off, say, oh, honey, it happens. It happens. We're human beings, just like how it happened for you. Remember? and then and then go make tea or go mow. Let her figure it out. It's not that critical. Don't end up begging for people's recognition or attention. The less you want it, the more you want it, the less they'll give it to you, and the more you want it, the less they think you're important. When you don't need something, everybody wants to give it to you. A long time ago, you all know that my father has passed. I love him so much. I learned so much from him. But we were talking about some kind of business or economics, or just the way things are in the world. And he said, when you don't need money, banks will always give it to you. They come after you to give you money when you don't need it. But when you do, then they have all these criterias, or they kind of make all these kind of questions or concerns, all these things. So he says, try not to need money from the bank, and they'll always give it to you. Same thing here. You become needy, people will kind of try to not give you the kind of echelon and importance that you have because you want something from them. Want nothing from them, they want to offer you everything that they've got. You're talking about emotionally, of course. And then you will be in the position of, you know, selecting. And that's a good position. All right, let's go back to where we were. Yogi sound. No, John. I guess John. Yeah. John says from UK, I broke up with my girlfriend on Sunday. Ah, on Sunday. On Sunday. That's about almost a week, a couple of days left. I'm 39, male. She's 33, divorcee, with a little girl of 4. We were together 18 months and broke up because I got too complacent. She said, we are too different. Okay, fair enough. Why not? You're young, 39, just a spring chicken, ready to go. Experience. Your career is probably better than it was 10 years ago. You're more experienced in life. You're more settled. You know what you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like. These are all positive for you. So, you know, if she feels she can, you know, it's all about provisions. Maybe you don't have enough money. She's trying to, she has a child. So she's looking for some kind of provisions, maybe. Maybe it's not you that you're different, both of you, so much. Maybe there is some differences. Naturally, and everywhere it is, everyone, everybody. But maybe she's thinking she can do, maybe try somewhere else, maybe more money here and there, looking after her own comfort and the little girl that she has. Many women are calculating, especially when they are a single mother and they don't have a proper income. So they would then try to weigh their options, how they can up their lifestyle or provide better security, economic security for their little one. So it's not about you necessarily, and that comment is not necessarily all about you. Depends what other factors are involved there. So, nevertheless, that's her decision. You respect that and you move on because you respect yourself as well. You go on and look for bigger and better things. Not necessarily bigger, but better things. Better things. Because I don't know what your taste is. Maybe you're more into Twiggy like style, you know, very fit and all that. Or if you're into the Roman style woman, then go for bigger and better one. All right. Okay. Uh, So don't you dare saying I'm broken. What the hell is wrong with you? How do you think that way? Broken? 39? Broken? Because some woman who chooses a different kind of a path for herself is going to that's the meaning of being broken? Come on now. Don't make me get the ugly stick. All right. Yogi says, hey, Miran, this is Yogi from North Vancouver. Oh, my goodness, so close. So close. Uh, says from North Vancouver, why did you change your YouTube channel name? I had to search the entire YouTube world to finally be able to find you. I'm mad. You could have used my name for heaven's sake. Just put my name, Mehran.be. It'll probably come up. The reason I changed it because I wasn't getting anywhere with it. I mean, people were not really appreciating the name because to me it meant something, mind that seeks truth. But people were not associating it with breakups and the psyche and inward analyzation of your psyche and uh, as deep as we go into some topics. It wasn't doing it. I was staggering on what 23,000 subscribers, and every live chat was like 5 or 6, 7, 8 people. and I was tired of not seeing the results, and I thought maybe the name doesn't make any sense to anybody. But I liked it because my my Instagram is Mind Seeks. My site is Mind That Seeks Truth. My channel was Mind That Seeks Truth. But Mind That Seeks Truth is a little bit heavy for some people who are not necessarily like you looking for substance. So they won't be attracted to come to the channel in order to see if there's substance, or maybe when they come, they'll see substances there, they won't go anywhere, they will like it. But it's kind of scaring them. A mind that seeks truth. So, oh, what the fuck? I don't want to go heavy. They just want to know about their relationship. So I just put it small. The one point. Okay, now this, what is that? At least there's some question in their mind. They don't know what it means. They come in. And if I wanted to make it a relationship channel, I don't. Anyhow, it's not really about the name necessarily, but in this case, you're right because the algorithm was used to the name for years. I had that. Was it? Well, it was actually for a couple of years because I had different names before. And then the tags and the name of each uh, video is really what people notice. They're not looking for a channel. It's the individual videos, but even that wasn't. So I don't know if it was good or bad, but I did it anyhow. So if you're mad, too bad. I've got my ugly stick here, so can't do things. Even though you're in West Vancouver, but hey, thank you for being here. But I wonder why did you have to look for? I mean, any of the videos, any one of them will take you to the channel, doesn't it? Okay, all right. We're back to Zkill and Zander Motz. What's your background? German? Don't forget, we have a protocol, need for protocol. In other words, um, like anyone else here, gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. Three little things. So Zander, I go, I come back to you as soon as I have that little information. It's important for me to know a little bit about you so that how old you are and what your gender is and where you're tuning in from gives me a little bit of background, like cultural background, age background, and your gender background, so I kind of can customize my responses to your questions. So, in other words, throw me the bone, give me the info. This is Dr. Evil here. Maybe I should call it Dr. Evil, the channel. And so, Aman, don't self sabotage yourself. Please stop that shit. Go find out what you need to do in order to feel the way you want to feel and go do them. Just some girl says this, that shit doesn't, it shouldn't be registering here. Just fend them off. Don't worry about it. Go for what your uh, preference is, and I don't know, go to the gym and do little things or do whatever you got to do to. Obviously, you don't like uh, these such connotations. So then that means you already are the man that you want to be. You just gotta find the proper path to bring a little bit more of what you want to look like and feel like. So do the things that brings you that feeling, but don't just simply believe the bullshit that happens to everyone's brain. All right, there we go. So I was right. It is German. Didn't I say that? I thought I said it. But it says German, French, Filipino, Native American. All right, the Heinz 57. There we go. Let's order some French fries. All right. Xander says German, French. You're right. Male 23, California. All right. Okay. So let's go back to Xander. Xander says, Where is it? Did I lose you? What happened? Mystery says naughty. What do you mean? You're just coming off off the middle of the theater. You should have been from the beginning, then you'd know. But anyhow, yes, maybe. But what did I say? I don't remember. I said lots of things. Some of them could be naughty. But anyhow, good to see you, Mystery. And what happened to the question that Xander had? Xander, what did you do with your question? I don't see it here. Oh, there it is. All right. Xander says, I just want you to know you helped me through an insane breakup a little over 2 years ago. Oh, I'm happy with my new girlfriend. Right on. And I'm in a much better place mentally. There we go. Thank you for sharing. And let this be a lesson to you. Not everything stays the same just because you feel shitty that moment. Something has happened and you feel shitty because you're comparing what it was to what it is. And what it was affirmation and more palatable to you, and so a little bit more intimate. So now, if that is taken away, you feel shitty. And that's how you felt then. But if you wait a little bit and understand that there's more world out there, and this experience, whatever it was that is no longer, is not the whole entirety of the experience of life, and you go on and accomplish other things and your tasks and learn and educate and build in life, and you will stumble on other opportunities that you never thought they exist, but they do. Just because you don't see them doesn't mean they're not there. It's no different than going in front of the ocean and you see, such a big ocean. There's no ships because they're not in your field of vision. You can't see further than a certain distance. There's no ship in your field of vision. But there are ships that have taken off from somewhere in the world and they're on their way. You just can't see them yet. Give it time. They are on their way. So things happen in a relationship. You get devastated compared to how sweet it was and how it is not. And you feel like you're a bad person because something is taken away from you, as the conditioning we've received since childhood. Something taken away from us, where I'm a bad person, I've done something bad. We feel kind of guilty, ashamed, or punished. But you wait, a few days passes by, and you get a good grade in school, or your mom gives you a beautiful gift, or maybe you get some lovely, delicious cake or dish that you didn't expect. So it's not like you're being punished. That moment, things are not so palatable or they're not going as you wished. But because life is a river, it's always in motion, there are going to be new things that will appear as they have started from somewhere far. You cannot see it, but they're on their way to you. And you will end up experiencing them if you have enough patience. So, on that note, hence, you broke up 2 years ago, you felt really terrible, and now you have a girlfriend that you even like more than that what was bothering you that you don't have anymore. So, as you can see, if you wait, life is a river, constantly bringing things, and sometimes it brings something that you didn't expect, but it's on its way. There's always something on its way. So, hopefully, this will work fine for you as it is right now. And if it didn't, well, you do your best to make sure it does. But if it didn't, again, it's not the end of the world. But we always try to make the best out of what we have. And I'm delighted that you feel good with your girlfriend and you're happy. Okay. Now, Manav says, sir, do gay people also worry like people who worry in age? Yes, of course. Gay or straight, heterosexual or homosexual or whatever the gender is, they all have the same kind of a challenge with HOCD. Uh, in one of interviews, Dr. Phillipson was talking to an interviewer, and this question came up, and he said, in fact, he had a gay patient, gay client that was having HOCD, thinking that and worried about being a heterosexual. So it works both ways. Heterosexual is attacked by HOCD, making him feel or think that he's not heterosexual, he's homosexual, and the homosexual is attacked by the opposite of what he or she is, that he or she might be heterosexual. HOCD, whenever it appears, you can be damn sure that you're opposite of what HOCD suggests. If you're not sure about what your gender is, whenever HOCD attacks you, you can make sure, you can be sure that you're the opposite of what that suggestion is. So if you're being, you know, if you're heterosexual, you've always been heterosexual, that's your preference and inclination, and the HOCD hits that you're homosexual, that means you're heterosexual, because HOCD is always attacking you opposite of what you are. It's never going to say, oh, you're heterosexual, and then attacks you, say, oh, you're heterosexual, you like girls. And you say, yeah, that's the end of the conversation. But because one of the reasons that HOCD appears is because brain doesn't have a home like our body has, and it still needs security, but its security is created in occupation. And this occupation is created by getting you involved in discussion and thinking and contradiction. So you'll go back and forth, and that keeps the brain occupied. How can it create that? Not by complimenting you or saying to you what you are. You're heterosexual, you like girls, it's okay. You're heterosexual, you like girls, and that's lovely. That's not occupation, because it ends, finish. There's no resistance, there's no discussion, there's no interaction between the brain and you, and that's it. But if it attacks you with something that you're not, then you want to defend it. And you say, what do you mean? It's not, I am this. What do you go upset, you get concerned, and then this conversation, this occupation, your brain's constantly tries to analyze and think about it and respond to it, try to fend it off, ignore it, attack it, resist it. All that activity is what the brain finds its security in it. Otherwise, it doesn't know where to. It doesn't have a home. Its home is in the occupation, busyness, movement of its neurons. So it's not like your body that you know where they are physically, and you lock your door, you're in a good part of town, and you feel secure. Brain finds insecurity in busyness, in occupation. So if you simply are not busy, that's why many people in this time of the pandemic, for the past few years, they are hit by HOCD more, because the brain is not occupied with all the regular things they used to do. All the plans have changed, lots of downtime and idleness, and the brain wants to be secure and is not doing anything to be focused and occupied and being active in doing something productive or positive. So therefore, it comes up even more than regular time about these sort of things. So this is your awareness. It should tell you that, okay, it's attacking you with something, and that's HOCD, which is opposite of what you are. So therefore, you reverse the opposite of what HOCD. That's what you are, which is you always been. So that's the trick to it, to figure out it's not what it's suggested, it's opposite of what is being suggested. Okay. Marcel Casimir. Marcel Casimir, I hope I'm not butchering your name. He says, hi, Miran. My ex girlfriend monkey branched me. Yeah, many girls do that. I'm trying to move on. Don't try, just move on. And it keeps getting better, but I still think about her. Yeah, naturally, we boys always think about girls that uh, didn't work out. Why? Because we're not thinking about the girl, her character. We're not thinking about who she was, how she interacted with us, what her consciousness level was. We're not. We're not focusing on the entirety of her. What you know of the girl is her legs, her boobs, her looks, her smile, the way that you held her hand. So you're really not considering her entirety of being. You're considering and getting and knowing her through the intimate part of her, that it would create intimacy for you, because that is the first and foremost reason of attraction for heterosexual male to woman. It's procreation, intimacy, sexuality, that you're attracted to her for that reason. Now, later on, you would say it would be a blessing if we can also, understand each other's, be compatible on mental level. But that's not the immediate motivation. So that's why your definition of her, instead of being focused on her entirety, which includes the contents of her consciousness, the conditioning she has received in her consciousness that creates her persona, instead you're focused on how beautiful her nail was, how sexy it was, how her legs are, the high heels she wearing, the beautiful hair and all. So your interpretation of her is based on her body parts, like the intimacy, the things that would create that excitement, that intimate excitement in you. But you got to go beyond that and bring character and persona to her. And then you can see that whole beautiful thing that you're so sold on doesn't worth a shit to you anymore. Why? Because you gave it a personality that she has, and you don't like that personality. So it doesn't matter how beautiful she looks, you don't want what, as beautiful as she is, what you like so much, to have that personality. And that personality will help you to move on by focusing on it. But if you don't focus on the personality and give her a personality by the pleasure that you receive by looking at her and how aesthetically pleasing she is and sexual she is, you can't see her personality. You naturally will give a certain aura or a image of a good personality to fit what is pleasurable in your eyes. So you kind of give a fictitious, you can't think about the bad things about her. You only come up with selected good things of that experience of relationship to match the pleasant experience of intimacy and experiences you had with her. Therefore, you're fooling yourself and you're not allowing yourself to see her entirety, which will help you to move on by seeing the real uh, deal there, the real character that she has. And don't allow your interest in the intimacy or the memories, good memories that you had, to create an image of her that is not representing her exactly or properly and just fooling you. And that's the stumbling block that stops you from moving on. Moving on to, it says, I wish I would see and say better. I still think about her a lot and I wish I wouldn't. She broke up with me about almost 3 months ago. Any advice? I just did. So I'm sure you'll be fine. You'll be okay. Don't worry. Everybody who broke up is okay. It just takes a little bit of time by becoming aware of what you really prefer and what was really bad about her and what was really not working. And the fact that it didn't work, that means it's not something you want. Why would you want something that didn't work? Why would you want someone who broke up with you? You got to look for someone who doesn't want to break up with you. And as soon as they do, then you just say, I don't want you either. All right. Um, a month is long distance relationship. Okay. Oh, I see you're talking about. Okay. John left says she broke up with me because I got. Okay, we read that already. We dealt with that. Melissa Kenny. That's a new name. It's the first time you're here, Melissa. Says, how can we, Melissa, where's the protocol? Age, gender, well, I can see the gender. Thumbnail is a little bit big. I can see. But where you tuning in from and age, and I'll come back to your question. Yogi says, "Hey, Miran, this is Yogi. I guess I did cover these. I must have missed Melissa's and other ones and Marcel's questions at the first round. Hmm. Aman says, Mehran, you like Kabir Das or Rumi? Actually, I haven't heard of Kabir Das, unfortunately, and Rumi. I've never read him. So, but I know who he is. Amazing, wise poet and writer and philosopher. But I haven't read anything on him. Sam says, okay, thanks so much for the advice, Miran. You're quite welcome, my friend. Um, and Pallavi Chattopadhyaya. Haye. I hope I didn't butcher your name. It's a beautiful name, but I have to practice to pronounce it. Says, hi, Pallavi, 30 from India. Thank you, dear. And hang on. Melissa's response is female, Surrey, BC, Canada. My goodness, too close. 45, first time writing in, but listen lots. Okay. No, we want you to write more and listen less. Lots of crap we talk here and here. You don't want to listen to what we say here. Well, let me go back to Melissa because she was here and I got to her question, but she lacked some info. So Dr. Evil here now gets to her question. She's 45, is it? 45 from Surrey. She says, how can one overcome the feeling of loneliness in times of COVID with no family around and friends who have left and abandoned them? First of all, you got to learn to be your own friend to begin with. You shouldn't be begging for a friend. A friend is not someone that gives you something, it's someone that who's also hoping to receive your friendship. And the one who leaves you, that means not hoping to receive your friendship, and the one who doesn't want to have your friendship doesn't deserve for you to seek their friendship. That's one thing. So you haven't lost anything not to have the friends who don't want to be friend with you. The hell with them, they can go. Now, in regards to what do you do overcome feeling of loneliness in time of COVID? Well, in time of COVID or no COVID, you got to learn that there's more to this life than the people. People can come and go. You can get friends with some and then have a fight or have a disagreement and they go away. So then you're lonely again, right? If that's up to them. So you got to learn how to be one with the universe, with life, with nature. If you understand that your ingredients, what you're made out of, is exactly the same as a tree in an ocean is made out of. And if your ingredients and what makes you to be who you are is the same as what has made them to be what they are, then in essence, you're not lonely. You're among the energy that has made you all. But we have learned to feel we are separate from nature. Since we've been born, we've been addressed as something different than the environment we live in while we're one and the same, at least made of one and the same material, energy. And listen to this carefully, guys. When a child is born, the child has no understanding of there's a difference between nature and him or her. It's only one thing. There is, it is. Not me and that. It's just whatever. Us, it. And it whole thing, I'm part of it. Then through life, we keep making them separate from nature. And by the way that others treat them, they become an individual, while at the beginning they were part of the nature. You can try this very easily, very, very easily. You guys have all seen this little bits that I am sharing information in the university where I was invited, and for a class of a group, and in there I demonstrated the power of mind by someone bigger than me try to lift me up. I'm sure many of you have seen that. And first, I allowed it, and this person lifted me up. Second, the same person, same me, nothing was added to me and nothing was taken away from that person. Same motion couldn't lift me up. And that's when mind and body becomes coordinated and you become part of the nature as where you have come from. But it's like the drop of the ocean that rolls back into the ocean, because that drop is the ocean. But when it's separated from the ocean, it sees itself as a drop and sees the rest of the thing as different, and the ocean being ocean and it being drop. But in fact, this drop is part of the ocean. All it needs to do is to understand it and roll back into the ocean, put itself into that what it came from. Same thing with us. When we do what I did in that demonstration, I became part of the universe, part of the nature. As such, who can lift that up? Who can lift the nature? Not possible. And it's proven. Every one of you can do that. And to show you how interesting it is only by the way you interpret your existence in relation to the universal nature. If you think that you are one, then you're one. And how you think, that's a process. But look at this. When you lift a child who's 1 year old, just 1 year old, you lift a child from the ground, you will say, oh my goodness, this is so much heavier than 10 pounds. This is so much heavier than 8 pounds. This is so much heavier than 11 pounds, whatever the pound it is. It's just a little child, but it's so heavier. Why does it seem that way? It's not because the mass of the child is more than, it's not because the child is heavy in weight. It's because the child has no understanding that there's a separation between the child and the outside environment. He or she thinks of the environment, the nature, and himself same. So when there is no difference in his mind or her mind between himself and the nature, it's one and coordinated with the nature. That's why it becomes so heavy to lift and impossible sometimes. Just like the experiment that I did, which I was actually using a certain way of focusing that allowed me to be coordinated and one with the nature. But when they're children, they don't have to know how. They naturally are, because there is no separation between them and the nature. But as they grow up, we teach them that they're separate. So then we separate them. Then they are not thinking that they are part of the whole. Then they start learning what loneliness is. They start feeling lonely. So you need to first understand your relationship and your connection with the nature, with the universe, with the flowers, with the trees, with the ocean, with the oxygen, with the air. You're not alone. You're never alone. The energy is flowing from one end of the universe to the other end of the universe, and is passing through you all the time. That energy is you, is made you, and is flowing, and you're living in it. So in fact, you're not lonely. But if you want to say that you want some companion that you can converse with and all that, I understand that. Well, that means then now you got to become a little bit innovative and find out the um, activities that could be around you. But in this times that you mentioned is a little bit more difficult going out and this and that so forth, well, perhaps you can focus on doing things, accomplishing things that you always wanted to accomplish, and through those accomplishments you will not feel lonely because you're busy, you're creating something, and that creation, that making things happen the way you want it to happen, brings that self-satisfaction and feeling of that I'm positive, I'm making positive changes, I'm taking steps and strides towards accomplishing what I have set out to accomplish, what I had in mind to accomplish. And that itself helps you not to be so lonely. And at the same time, while you're doing all those things, you could meet someone and, or perhaps be a little bit more active in just little outings here and there. You said you are living where? In Surrey, was it? Oh, you're in Surrey, yeah. So look, we're not that all closed up here. So you can have some activities here and there. And at least we are not all locked down here, as certainly uncivilized as it is by having limited uh, people because they haven't gotten this or whatnot. But still, is not as bad. It may get that way. I don't know, but it's not as bad as some other places. So you still have chances to interact, you know. But I understand. So focus on every moment rather than what I could have done, what I should have done. It should have been this. Focus on the now, on the very moment that you're making an effort. So at least you will be present in the present moment, and you try to accomplish the things you want to accomplish. And I bet you, regardless, you can't hide yourself. You're going to meet people, and then you go from there. At least you will feel you're not alone because you're in line with the universe, with the nature, because of the way you've changed your awareness of the fact that you are part of this nature. You're not separated from it. That by itself is a humongous step that makes you not feel alone. But do you think I go to parties every night? No. I go for a walk by the ocean. I do the things I do. And I don't feel alone because maybe I'm more aware of my interest in nature, universe, and know that I am made out of the same ingredients like the drop of the water of the ocean. I'm always aware that there is an ocean and I'm part of it. And perhaps that could help. I hope it helped you. Um, Melissa. I forgot the name. All right. What else do we have here? Xander says naughty family history. Lol. Whose? Mats. Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, definitely, definitely. German, French. Somebody's been traveling, hasn't he? Yeah, 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 yeah. So, wie geht's heute? Geht's gut? It's morning there, isn't it? Mm. And Mystery says the forgetting of birthday advice was funny. I don't even remember. I'm getting too old. I don't remember what I said. A minute. So let's see. What did I say? Forgetting. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It was funny, wasn't it? Yeah, I kind of liked it too. Just let the day or two pass. Oh, by the way, happy birthday. She's really pissed. I said, honey, it happens. We're all human beings. You see, it happened to you too, didn't it? Yeah. Okay. Zedkill says the one point is confusing a bit. Yeah, like you really cared about what the name of the channel was last time they came here. Nobody knew what the name of the channel was, even though whatever it was. They came because of the video title, didn't they? Who knows even what the name of the channel is? So whether it's like, my elbow or one point or or something else, I don't think it makes difference. I think the tags and the title and the of the videos and the thumbnails for the videos is the one that attracts people around. Because look, I had it for a few years and didn't do much. So what's the difference? I put something that is a little bit weird, or at least they will find out what it means when they actually discuss things to do with mind and body coordination and all that and so forth. Um, says even if says maybe try understanding breakups, then that limits the topic of the channel to breakups and the people who are interested in their psyche and movement of the psyche, or the OCD, or other topics in neuroscience or neuroscience of habits, or things that we talk about. They won't come in because they think, okay, it's about breakups only. Yeah. So I didn't want to give it. So the one point, the only thing, if they don't know what it really means, the only thing they can think of is, oh, there must be a point here. Let's see what the point is. But nobody really cares about what the name of the channel is. I don't think, because they're not searching by the name of channel. They're searching by what they're looking for as a topic in the videos. And I've got like 3,000 different titles here, so it should hit something. But obviously, not. And somebody told me one of the reasons that I don't have that many registered subscribers, because people don't want to associate with the topic of breakups and all that. And if it's known that this channel is heavy on breakups, which it is, and then and moving on, which it is, and then they would kind of want to not want to be here, enjoy it, and benefit from it, but they don't want anybody to know they're subscribed to it. But I don't understand it, because nobody really knows what you subscribe to unless they come onto your computer. But anyhow, that was what my reasoning was. And it's not a great reasoning, but that's all I can come up with right now. And Pallavi says, my marriage went on only for 8 months, and I have been staying separately from my husband for 2 years. I'm confused whether I should end this. I'm scared if I will ever find somebody again. Well, what's the difference? You're not with him right now, so you just called yourself married. That means you can't even go and find a new boyfriend or new possibility, but you're not together anyhow. You say, if I divorce and end it, then I wonder if I ever find another. What's the meaning? Like, you have somebody now? You don't. You're living separately. So what's the difference? If it's not working, if the guy is not uh, uh, interacting with you, uh, somehow one of you or both of you have decided that it's not working, and you're separated. So what are you lingering to? What magically one of you going to say, oh, I'm tired now, I'm alone, so let's the hell with it, let's see what happens. That's not really a good news, is it? So I don't know the nitty gritties of what happened, Pallavi. So that's not really, I'm not going to be able to make much sense, because I really have no idea what went on to go on from it. But if you say, I'm scared that I'll never find somebody else, like, have you found somebody right now? What is this? Is this somebody that you don't live with? So you found somebody that you don't live with is better than somebody that you don't find and you don't live with. What's the difference? You don't live with them. You're not interacting with them. So figure it out. If it's reconcilable, talk it over and see what can be done. And if both of you are adamant that it's not going to work, two different consciousness and not close enough to be compatible, and not willing to, you know, to put yourself in situations that is not comfortable for you both, then you will come to the right conclusion at that time. And user 22 says, hello, Meran. Good morning. And Sam Kuran says, sir, how much time does it take to recover from HOCD? Depends. Depends on your knowledge and how much understanding you have what the hell HOCD is. And if how long you're going to be fooled by the brain and you're going to believe the brain, and what the brain does makes the body react to its fictitious conjured up stuff, and yet it has the power to make the body react to it, which becomes an evidence for you that what the brain conjured up is true. It's not true. It just has the manipulation power to make the body react to its thoughts. But if you read through that and you're educated yourself about what HOCD is and how it behaves, then you won't be bamboozled and it'll take much sooner. And ERP, yeah, sure, is good. Apparently, I understand that's a gold standard for that. But many recover without any of these. But either way, you have to expand your understanding and education about HOCD. And ERP is apparently the gold standard of the therapy for that, to help your brain to come back to normality, and whatever was normal to you, because different people have different genders and they have different function of their brain. But for you, whoever, however, how your brain was and how your feelings and everything was and clear for you, and then switches to something else, that means you need to help the brain to get back to its program and understand the role of basal ganglia area, the striatum area, understand the liver, caudate nucleus, when it malfunctions, the effect of it, and how it makes HOCD to seem something real. And all that, the education will help you in the neuroscience of habits and the whole philosophy behind this and the whole how it works. It'll all help you to understand that you're not the brain and brain is not you. And there are aspects of your mind and you that the brain cannot even reach. And for that, you can also start with this video of mine that I prepared a long time ago. And it's a little bit long, but it's based on the uh, presentation of Dr. Egnar, who described the experiments that Dr. Sperry, Dr. Penfield from Montreal, uh, Dr. Owens, and Dr. Libet did in their laboratories. And there were neuroscientists and neurosurgeons. And he proved beyond the shadow of the doubt what Aristotle from 1,000 years ago had come up with and have understood in philosophical point of view, that there is this ideology of the materialists that they were saying atoms and void. There's nothing beyond atoms and void. It's either atoms and void, nothing or material. But then Aristotle, of course, was talking about dualism, which is not atoms and void. There's something beyond material. And then, of course, now 1,000 years ago, the modern science have proven what Aristotle was talking about in neurosurgery, by neurosurgery and neuroscience, that actually brain is not you, you're not the brain, and you're beyond the brain, and that there is something beyond material, and that is you. That's the intellect, that's the awareness, and that is you. Now, when you understand all these, and especially the experiment that Dr. Libet did in the laboratory is an amazing. And for that, I want you to watch this, and then make your own judgment of how helpful it can be. Here's the link for you guys. It's a get your tea or coffee and goodies and sit down with it and learn it and understand it. It's a bit elaborate, a bit long, but it's a presentation that I think you will find lots of help in there to educate yourself about the fact that what conjures up by your brain, that's not you. The brain is just a machine. It doesn't even know what it guesses things. It's not like it's smart or anything. It can do calculation, but that's the machine that does it. It's not intellect. So You got to be aware of that, and that all will help. An ERP, of course, is the gold standard of this what is it therapy. And Melissa Kenny says, yes, thank you. You're quite welcome. I don't know what for, but you're welcome. Pallavi says, thank you. I had actually found someone casually lately, but I don't know if I should really move on. Well, if you don't move on, where are you going to get? Where are you going to get if you don't move on? What is happening there? Are you guys going to live together? What is it? What is this business of getting married and then live separately for 2 years or whatever it is? What's going on? What is it for? I don't know what the culture is, what does is allowed, is not allowed, whatever it is, but life is short. So make up your decision, weigh things around, and see what works. That's all I have to say about that. And Anne B says, you have helped me so much tonight, Mehran. You're quite welcome, dear. Then help me out by letting me know where you're located, what your age is, who am I helping. It says, with dealing with heartbreak, even though I wasn't in comments, it is so hard to deal with. I may wish to do a Skype meeting with you soon. Not today, though. Yeah, please, not today, because it's like what? It's 1:23 in the morning. It's time for me to no, not sleep, because I still want to have some tea and some goodies and maybe watch some kind of a movie. I love nights. And maybe I do some work. I don't know. So yeah, by all means, you can go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com. Here it is, www.mindthatseekstruth.com. Okay, that should do it. So, and for 1 hour consultation registration, I'll throw in another hour for our first session. So we'll have 2 hours, plenty of time to explore one-on-one on Skype what's concerning you. And says, thank you. You're quite welcome, man. But you didn't give me your age. That is part of the protocol here. All right. What? Wow. What? The age? Are you keeping it secret? What's going on? All right. Let's see what else we have here. Pallavi says, thanks. You're welcome. Anne says, I know. It's kind of hard to do. What? To say your age? Why? As long as you're not younger than 18, you're okay. But if you don't have a question here, you don't have to put your age here. That's all right. You can, I will eventually have to know when we're talking. Uh, but all the best to you. And it looks like, guys, it looks like we don't have any more question here. So I guess that's my cue to go about having new tea. This one is just perfect now. And then do some work or maybe some of this stuff. So I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you and spend some time together and not to be alone as Melissa, was it Melissa? Melissa said, I guess, as for that. So I look forward to talk to you again, maybe spontaneously like this tonight, or as scheduled on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Vancouver time on live streaming. So in the meantime, please be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon. But we too, like the iceberg, have 1,000 times bigger powers that is not visible, and we must. Why? Is it something we're rambling on and I expect you to accept it? Or is there actually another power within us? Would you come and help me out? Okay. What I want you to do is put your hands underneath my arms and just lift me up. There we go. Okay, now, that's my physical part, right? Same thing, again, with that. Just want to see if there's any difference. Go ahead. Now, go ahead. Now, this, go ahead, when you're ready.
Go ahead.
So you see, this is different than what he was doing, and I'm not really doing anything. You convinced?
Yeah.
So are you guys convinced that there is something other than, thank you. Thank you very much.